That's the story. Yeah, John, I don't know what you're like.
They're undercover tonight.
Come on, hit them.
What do you think?
We'll start with the appointment or election of a new chair, as is custom on the Lancaster Board of Selectmen. The selectman that is coming up for re-election or election is usually selected as chair. With that, I would nominate Jane Gaddy as chair of the board.
Do I second it? I'll second.
A motion and a second to elect Shane Beatty as chair of the Lancaster Select Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Since he's not here, he'll be voluntold.
What you get for missing a meeting?
That's it. We'll start with department head updates. Randy?
They handed you out the sheets. This year, in February, we did 53 911 calls, 104 transfers compared to last year was 65 911 calls and 119 transfers. The total from last year was 184, this year 157. All the trucks are in working, good, decent working order, no issues to report, fire or ambulances. Our revenues are in decent shape. We're very proud of that. The fire department responded to 2 car accidents, 2 alarm activations, 2 fuel spills and a car fire, which is busy for us. Also, the one of the ambulance that we ordered 2 years ago, along with the van that we just got approved for, will be here Thursday. Very coincidental that they came in about the same time. The van actually has been there for a couple of months. They've been holding it, hoping that we get, that it passed with it, otherwise they wouldn't own it. And 2 ambulances, they'll be dropping 2 off and taking 2 with them. We traded them in at a decent price for them, and I think that's, we have to do that. That's all I have.
And then we'll move on to John.
All right, so since last meeting, we've had 511 calls for service. 6 of those were motor vehicle crashes, 178 were motor vehicle stops, and we had 17 arrests. For the same time period last year, we only had 433 calls for service. We had 7 crashes, 162 motor vehicle stops, only 5 arrests. So again, increase continues. Year to date, 2025, we've had 1,348 calls for service, 23 motor vehicle crashes, 437 motor vehicle stops, and 48 arrests. Year to date last year, excuse me, 1,026 calls for service, 18 crashes, 324 stops, and 33 arrests. Again, continuing to climb. Cruiser 1, which is our 2017 Expedition, has been stripped of all the equipment out of it. It's back behind the PD now. Town crew will take the decals off and be ready to go out to bid once those decals are off. Cruiser 2, our 2021 Explorer, currently has 75,496 miles. Cruiser 4, which is our 2019 Explorer, has 105,119 miles. And Cruiser 5, our 2023 Explorer, has 42,731 miles. All are in good working shape. This Wednesday, Lieutenant Matthews and myself will be going down to Mass to pick up the new cruiser. That's already set and ready to go. All the equipment for that to be outfitted is in, with the exception of the K9 cage that has been shipped. And we're hoping it'll be delivered Thursday or Friday to Tattoo, who's gonna be putting everything in for us. He will work diligently to get everything put together so that Lieutenant Matthews can use that cruiser for training when he goes. That way we don't have to pay him mileage to take his own vehicle, so that'll be a cost savings, and I've already talked to Nick about that, so he's on board with that. The 26th of this month, we will be picking up the canine. Pick up the canine on March 26th. Then the first week of April is when they go to the training. The dog will be imprinted on 4 different types of narcotics. It's cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, and fentanyl. So. Then as far as the open position, we have posted it. And as of today, I have 3 resumes that have been sent to me with 3 individuals interested in the position.
Part of it, the 3, do any of them have experience already?
No.
You saw that on the poster. And where will we put the bids for the expedition? Where will we get?
I think typically historically, I think Jerry might be the next better. I think we put it out in the paper, like we did do any bid type thing.
It's on paper in the NHMA, Town and City magazine. I know a long time ago, they used to put it out. Wendy used to have a list of like the companies and things like that to stick theirs out to, but we don't have those types of vehicles anymore. That's when they had the VIPs. So, and I think we've lost contact with whoever those people were at the time.
And I'm sorry, did you say the Democrat or the Caledonia?
I did
Paper.
It's a paper. Do you have a preference?
Who has the largest readership?
Caledonia, whatever. Why?
So it reaches the most
I
people.
think so. Oh, some paper.
So we're having NHA magazine as well as on their online. I know they have the online ads, classifieds. Yeah. For their town and city. Yeah. So they put the town and city edition, and then they also advertise on the website.
The last cruiser that we put out the bid at Essex County. So just as an effort. Yeah. Cheap money. Yeah, it did.
A couple things just to let you know about. You're aware, I'm sure, that a week and a half ago, we had a major flood in the library caused by the access of the tax base and that flood. This is the 4th time that has happened in my history. Our crew kept in the town crew, they kept it that day, and we got snowstorm in the afternoon. And everything is fine. We do have to replace some great feet of baseboard, roof board that had to be removed to make sure we don't have to turn that. I've already been contacted by Primex, we do have $1,000 deductible. So that should help with some of it. April 9th, we are supposed to have an installation of the interior pump and drain that will help the water to come in. That does not answer the issue with that thing. And I think at some point, we all need to decide who is really responsible for maintaining the catch basin. One of them look at it and look at the rate, and Tim, who works for us up to maybe 8 or 10 hours a week, tries to take on top of it as well. But I don't know if it's our responsibility or whether it's the town's responsibility to keep an eye on that catch basin. So I think it's something that we need to talk about. We're hoping the drain is be inside, at least give it time. There's something, and after the middle of the night, time, and I did not get up at 2 in the morning when I intended to go down and check it. It flooded without my knowing, and we got standing on it. So that's one piece. Last time I came to you, I talked to you about the furnace. You weren't ready to release the money from capital reserve at that point. The bid we have at that point in our life. We've spoken to 4 other people. One said they didn't handle it. One said they didn't have time. 2 others showed up and said, "Oh, and now they don't answer their phones." So we are nowhere in terms of the. And I'm not sure where the library trustees are going to go with that. But I don't
Now, you looking at a complete replacement or what?
The quote we had was for a complete replacement. We are investigating the possibility we might be able to get a long period of time just replacing the burner. Whether that is worth it at this point. And whether we can get anybody who agrees to do it. Even come and give us some opinions. I didn't know. Yeah, we feel complete replacement at 28,000.
Do you know how old the furnace is?
I suspected it was in 98 when we put the new building in. I don't think we didn't reuse what we had, I think, so I think it was in 1996.
So no decision for us to make tonight, sounds like? Yeah.
Yes, I wrote it after, I'm trying to Buddha and see if he was honor that bid. Quite often they will. A lot of these people understand that when you're working in town government, it doesn't happen with a snap of the fingers.
I'm not sure if the trustees want to proceed with that or whether they're still thinking that maybe finding someone who can replace the owner. Well, by the time at this point, and that's hard to make work.
It sounds like we don't know for sure whether it needs to be fully replaced. To commit funds.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself. And we're close enough to the end of the season that if we can get through without any more repairs. The other problem is getting someone prepared when it goes out. And Pitch has been great about coming and getting pointed out to me on a couple of occasions that it's not their job. But they have been willing to come and get us going on the last couple of months.
Eli?
We are getting in the spring season slash getting ready for summer. Got several events coming up. We have a father-daughter dance on April 5th, 1:30 to 3:30. And we'll be in Shanty Forest. And then the day after, we have a mother-son dance, which was the first year ever doing with our, at least us. Last year, and that had a solid turnout, so hoping with the word maybe getting spread. That'll be the day after, the same time, 1:30, 3:30, April 6th. Then April 11th, we'll be having our Easter egg hunt. We got to change it up a little bit. We have been the last couple of years, doing it like on a Saturday morning, out on the tennis courts. But this year, we're gonna have it be a flashlight search. So we bring flashlights to try to. I don't know if you've ever seen kids going after candy, but they're usually pretty quick at it. So maybe the lack of light will deter their abilities. So I've had to do freeze egg hunt for them the last couple of years. So basically last more than 1 minute after getting all the eggs out. So ages 0 to 3 will be on the tennis court at 5:45. And then we're gonna try to hopefully get the warmth and hopefully the saturation will go down a bit. The goal is to be on the baseball field / soccer field area. 4 to 6 will be at 7:45, and then the 7-12 age range will be at 8 o'clock. And then over the last couple of years, I don't know if you've seen on our Facebook page, we have a big golden egg hunts that we've scattered around town. Try to partner with some businesses, have them there. Well, that one's starting that night as well, and we can start looking for them roughly around 6. So I'll try to keep chief notified on those locations so that he doesn't see if there's people wandering everywhere. We won't put them on people's houses that don't know that. So they'll start that in the next morning. Usually they're found pretty quick by people, but try to make them hard enough so they're going right away. We are planning on having a paint night. It's gonna be kind of like a staycation paint night. Usually one adult, maybe two, and a kid or two. My mom does it. She's a very good artist, and thinking the staycation would be April vacation. Solidified date for that, but I'll let you know what we do. We put it on Facebook as well. Baseball, softball signups have finished, except for start marks. We have roughly 160. Even like just a tick up from last year. Just a couple more. We're doing something a little different this year. Baseball board chose to have a 10U, which is just 9 and 10-year-olds. Last year was 9 through 12, so the 9 and 10, 7 and 11 and 12. Hopefully that'll use some kids rather than have to come up and be an annual facing adult real pitcher. We could possibly, with the age range, be a 13-year-old, technically, the way the powerlifting works. So hopefully that'll make better even playing. I don't have a date yet for opening day and parade. I'll also talk with Chief about when I have a baseball meeting with boards and after this room. 7:30. So I should have a better full pump I put out to try to set up a date. We haven't responded on the date yet for our full pump. So once again, I find that out, let you guys know for installation purchases going over there. It should be full steam heading to get that going. Last year we had 2 lifeguards that were certified to teach lessons. This year we're hoping for 3. Very time so the lifeguard and so that one more. Well, we're gonna get 2. Well, we lost our head lifeguard this year, but thankfully we have somebody who's heavily involved and very good. We'll step in as the head lifeguard this year, and so that transition has been smooth. But she's been working with them because that cert can be kind of difficult. So it's even kind of that's how difficult it can be. So she's been training a little bit just for a couple sessions. Get that ready. So hopefully we'll have 1 extra this year. So maybe that'll make it so we don't have to have quite a wait list for swim lessons this year. But, so that's good. And we're on track to have enough, but maybe find 1 more. You should be all set at least. Go. Thinking about possibly being open on the weekends and maybe taking 1 night out. Once again, once I have that from the I'll let you guys know. That's it. Doesn't have questions. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all, the department heads can. Desire. We have plenty of time in the change room.
I remember one.
Don't see any reason why you can't do 2, as long as it doesn't.
Pictures I'd like to share with you too. We have 2, we didn't bring 3, but, that's right away on Stebbins Hill.
Give me my bearings.
No, this is looking up the hill from one house.
Your house.
Farm farm.
On one you have this.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's it, put on the right of way. The reason it's put on the right of way is because the town wants to look. Take a bridge and wing a snowbank back, they want to break up there. That's on the edge of the right of way. The reason I take it is, I'm dealing with that kids.
You measure from here, like the center of the road, and then measure to the road?
Well, it's done two ways, it's done from the center and it's done out, and it's also done from the edge of the travel portion from. The problem. Comparatively. It's always done on seven fill, so that way there's no complaint, you took it back to half the time, it's actually 50 years ago. There's no complaint, the town breaks that fence. Because it's on the, and if they do break the fence, they will fix it. Yeah. And chances they ever will, when the mold, you know, they 2 4 to 5 foot low off the hiking road, this is something I want you guys to. See, you can share that with Shane, but,
It's all being people's.
yeah, yeah. Well, all right, that's that one. The other one is, I wish Shane was here. I sense a reluctance from the board or from someone to honestly get a, bid on the ground. Book is very, RSA is very explicit, that Shane cannot sell it down over $200 worth of material. He came in last, but then again, over cheaper. He came in last week with, 2 weeks ago with Tim having got quotes from KB, Carroll Concrete, and him, and he was lowest, and so I think he expected that you guys were gonna say, yeah, we'll buy from you. That isn't competitive bidding. If Carroll Concrete had, they called over Carroll Concrete, just got an out the door price, off the street price. If they had said to Carroll Concrete, please submit us a competitive bid, it would have been much lower than that. Against the law, it's right in the book, I gave you guys all a copy of it. Why are we dragging our feet on this? The law was written, and I'm not saying change it, but the law was written because human nature is human nature, they will take advantage of things. You don't allow Shane to just say, I'll get the left hand here because I'm cheaper than somebody else. To begin with, Shane was, and this property was unknowingly, all three of you and me as well. Shane sold the gravel before the emergency to the town, and it was illegal. There was no competitive bid. So as a taxpayer, I expect to see a competitive bid, and also the one that they missed, and maybe for a good reason, but Albert Clear, they've got a good gravel, he isn't start. And it does involve 15 minutes more per trip, but the price is, already, without even asking for a competitive bid, is $1 cheaper than Shane's. So, I've done this work for 50 years in this town, in the North Country of competitive bidding on septic systems, cellar holes, roads, driveways, etc. I know what I'm talking about, I don't see the reluctance to get a competitive bid. We should have been doing this earlier.
I think definitely the winter sand will go out when it's appropriate to go out for a bid. It will definitely go in.
So what
I think the recent gravel was because obviously we're having a warm spell. We purchased an amount of gravel that we thought would carry us through because of the road reconstruction with the storm. We are short of gravel. So we either let the dirt roads become quagmires and unpassable, or we had to find gravel put in those spots. That's,
I don't think anybody's arguing the fact that you need gravel. You need gravel every year, every spring. Take care of these problems, spot problems here. But the thing is because of your laxness and not getting a competitive bid, do we go ahead and give it to Shane? That hardly seems right.
I'm saying he was probably the least expensive to get there. And normally we would have had enough gravel had we not been repairing roads to the extent that we had to.
I would argue with that. We've always hauled gravel from our supplier in the spring. There's no way you would ever have a stockpile up there enough to carry it through the spring. But regardless, the stockpile was put up there illegally from Shane's pit with no competitive bid. Okay, now you want to continue on because you didn't go ahead and start this process earlier. You want to continue on with this illegal activity? I have to think it's right.
That's big.
Yeah.
2 things.
Ellen, thanks for bringing to our attention the $200 on the select board. I had completely forgotten that. I think you know how closely I pay attention to knowing the territory, but I had forgotten that. So thank you for sharing that with us. If I'm not mistaken, you are working on a gravel bid. So we have to, a bid, not calls that Tim Brown made, but a bid. Right, great.
Well, we have to understand what we're going to be purchasing to put out there so that we get accurate prices back. It's been a whirlwind of a week, so I haven't, it's in my stack to do, but I haven't been there yet.
But a real competitive bid,
Yes.
okay, like I said, not just phone call. And who is this person you want us to add to the list?
I'll start.
I believe he is always on the list and always gets a request.
From Winter Sands, but over sand, talking about gravel, but I do have that contact information in the Winter Sands. Great, cool. We have that.
Okay.
So the question is, are we going to continue to buy from Shane in the meantime? They're legal.
I don't think they said that.
That's about a quarter year.
You're, no need. Okay, you cannot, the gravel cannot get into the gravel until competitive bid.
I know he purchased some at 80.
And that's just to clarify. The last gravel that was bought was purchased from AB. For what we needed for some of the spring.
My understanding for this one still.
Now, keep in mind, though, you should be conferring with your road agent, Tim Brown. At one point, AB was putting out a very poor product. State was on accept the product. Now, the state won't accept it for over, I don't know, $80,000 Lancaster should. So what I'm saying is, fair is fair, and competitive is competitive, but you've got to have respect on that. Same thing when you get to a dump for you don't take the cheapest price if it's junk. You make sure that it passes the test, and you got an engineer watching it. Like I say, what I'm saying is that I don't believe that you just should continue to buy from Shane where it's against the law.
Well, it's not against the law if it's a competitive bid that's been approved by this group.
Right.
But just on the short run, yes.
Yeah, I'm short on, I don't think they should be doing. He shouldn't be rewarded for breaking the law all last year. And, he shouldn't be rewarded with the continuance of buying up. You know, probably will cost the town more, buy it from Carroll, but some other person, but, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
So we shouldn't go with lower bid.
Hmm?
Are you saying we shouldn't go with low bid?
We haven't had any bids. Shane came in with quotes. Now, you see what I'm saying is the, Carroll Concrete, they put out window sand to us for $10 a ton, okay? The regular out the door price is $12 a ton to me. But volume discount and competitive bid with the town, they come down. So Shane's quotes, about 2 weeks ago, mean nothing. Carroll Concrete would have come down probably $2 a ton, which would have been competitive with Shane. And Shane may come down. What's Shane, if Shane knows he's going on a competitive bid, he may come down 50 cents to $1 a ton. And especially if he knows he's bidding against Albert, he knows what Albert's prices are. Albert's prices are $1 a ton cheaper than Shane's. But there is a drawback with Albert, is right now you can't get to his bid because he's on the end road. But he's good for the whole thing in the fall.
Okay.
So we will see a competitive bid on the paper, is that correct?
You will see a competitive bid go up. There's always been a competitive bid that's gone up at some point.
And I want to clarify which paper.
I've just heard the Caledonian switch.
And you are
Thank you.
notifying all these people by mail as well. You husband people,
I don't know if that's been done in the past or not, because if we send stuff out in the mail and we miss somebody, now they're gonna say, well, it's not a proper bid because you didn't send me it in the mail, but you did those people. That's a double-edged sword there.
I think you gotta do too, you know, that's what you gotta do in the paper and, is that, have you sent them before? Sure.
Winter Sands, I don't know anything about.
When they're saying,
Ground.
no, when saying, why wouldn't we do it for same people? You see what I'm saying?
They
People
have, I'm not seeing.
think they suck, you know it. Nobody reads them anymore. We used to put the open calendar for Democrat, and everybody got it, and everybody saw it. It doesn't work that way anymore. You guys all know it, nobody reads the paper.
All right, we will, well, no. No public hearings scheduled for tonight? And we'll review the minutes of March 3rd, 2025. I was not present. Shane is not present tonight, and we did not actually vote to accept them. I don't believe that I weren't present from. We have paperwork, the 2025 general assessment service agreement.
Thank you. We have, Northtown Associates, contract for signature. Rates remain in place from 2024.
The question I had on this, was reading it over today. We had put in a previous one, a penalty for not accomplishing the work in a timely manner.
Yes, it was a $50 a day. That's increased to $100.
So it is.
It's in here at 100. Yeah.
Okay. Or my question on that? And
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 general assessing services contract with Northtown Associates.
I will second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I have another paperwork for you to sign this evening. It is an MS 232, a report of appropriations to be voted. Next up, new business number 1, acceptance of unanticipated funds less than $10,000. There's an emergency management performance grant. This is a grant to update our local emergency operations plan, which is past its shelf life. So the grant is for $8,000, for $4,000 to come from the Homeland Security and Emergency Management in New Hampshire, and $4,000 to come from the town's match, which will be met in force account labor. So that will be met in time that actual employees spent updating the procedures.
And if I'm not mistaken, this looks like that means this will be completed by August 31st.
You think that's the intention?
I will make a motion to accept the emergency management performance grant, $4,000. Acknowledging it's an $8,000 project and 50% of it is a match of staff time. Staff time. I think also I need to authorize Jessica Sear, our town manager, to sign all documents related to the grant.
I will second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
New business number 2, the New Hampshire DOT bridge funding cost escalation update for McGarry Hill Road over Bone Brook. In March of 2023, you all received that the bridge itself is being put on a 10-year plan with New Hampshire DOT for our 20% share of the project to be $239,000. As of March 5th, 2025, they've updated the price for us, and currently our 20% share is $351,000. They recommend budgeting an additional 3 to 5% to update costs. Why I'm mentioning this to you this evening is because I know that we are going after our bridge repair fund for some needs off of Garland Brook. And in next budget cycle, I'll likely be looking to increase our contribution to that fund in preparation for this. Again, we don't anticipate seeing any action on this. It's enrolled in the current plan from 25 through 2034. So as a heads up, thank you for that. Heads. There are a few appointment recommendations. One's for the planning board for Margaret Jones as a regular member with a 3-year term expiring in 2028. Gregory Westcott as a regular member with a 3-year term expiring in 2028. And Matthew Tremer as an alternate member with a 3-year term expiring in 2028.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommended reappointments. Planning board.
I will second that. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
The second appointment recommendations are for the zoning board. Looks like there's a reappointment. So the reappointment of Donald Fredette as an alternative member for a 3-year term expiring in 2028. The appointment of David Anderson as an alternate member for a 3-year term expiring in 2028.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendations on Donald Burdette and David Anderson as alternate members for ZBA.
I will second that. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 And then also a Lancaster ZBA to recommend the appointment of Leo Enos as an alternate member for a term of 1 year to fill the remainder of the vacant seat.
I'll make a recommendation to appoint Leo Vino Senior as an alternate member for 1 year. You're making a motion. Okay, I'll make a motion, sorry. I wanted to vote on, so I made a motion. Ask my next vote.
The appointment does not pass.
What was your vote, sir? Wait.
I'm not going to wait.
No,
Okay. Want to make sure I get it in here. Thank you.
And we'll go on to old business.
Old business was this term update, because that we received approval from the voters to move forward with purchasing some gravel, so I'm working to understand how many materials we need to fulfill our road needs and to put that up to bid.
Have we seen any more movement with FEMA as far as reimbursements?
We have, we've received 2 projects so far. The big major project has gone to their folks to be costed. So we're anticipating that we'll be hearing from them soon. Our work that's been 100% complete, which is the pavings and some of the ditching, will be eligible to receive reimbursement. They may have to piecemeal what's coming back to us. Unless we wait until everything's 100% done, which I don't.
do you have a question? We saw photos out of Martin Meadow Pond today, but is that part of where we had to rebuild that road?
I'm not
Part of the road.
sure. Unfortunately, I'm not sure where the photo itself was taken. We saw it as well. The roads are very soft at this point. The frost is thawing very quickly, so we just put out a note to keep and place phone calls to the oil companies and so on and so forth, just to kind of stay off the roads until they firm up or dry out a minute.
We do it tonight.
I just do not have anything. Town managers report.
All right, Selectman Beatty, Chief Lynn, Highway Foreman Brown, and I participated in a conversation with Homeland Security and Emergency Management and the National Weather Service regarding the spring flooding threats and outlook on March 5th. It was good, it was good for us to practice kind of, getting all parties involved, to forward think, but luckily it seems like we've missed the major flooding, which is a relief. I also attended a planning board meeting where a public hearing for the master plan was held and adopted last Wednesday. I'm working with bond counsel for the Summer Street project, so it requires probably a list of 30 documents to send over to council. I posted a temporary position for the water and wastewater department for the service line inventory as an administrative assistant. We're meeting with our consultants, Hazen, tomorrow to dig deeper into the inventory, so that should be most of the day, starting out. I had 4 welfare cases in the past 2 weeks, which were awarded for $2,681.90. And then there was also some questions as far as the Parker J. Noise building. And looking at the assessment, it was, second bill was to revert in 2022 was to revert to the assessment for 79E easement for 7 years. And that adjustment will be in 2027. If you look at the assessed value, the total taxable went up in 2023. And speaking with the assessor, that amount was adjusted based on the town's reassessment. There are also some questions as far as the auditor's statement in the town report noting as a draft, and that was simply because there wasn't enough time with submission over to the printer. The full audit should be available on the town's website for anyone who's concerned.
I want to clarify on the position doing the inventory for the water lines. That's a temporary position.
Part-time temporary.
And then, in our packets, we had information zoning board meeting notice for March 26, 2025. Land use permits were issued for 1 and 3 Foss Place, 24 Bridge Street, 46 Railroad Street, 74 Brook Road, and 50 William Street. There was also a sign permit issued for Service Federal Credit Union at 148 Main Street. And that's all I have for additional information that was in here. I don't believe we need any non-public session tonight, so we'll move on to public comments.
Been quiet and make them one less. Yeah, may I make a comment?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Thank you for addressing the Parker J. Noise thing, that's one. And, I had asked the question of the assessing board, you answered it for them. With respect to the, we got the new ambulances are coming in, that means we're retiring an ambulance?
There's actually 2.
So
They were traded in, so
oh, they're not
2 ambulances will come in, 2 will go away.
on the not be offered for sale. Okay.
Received a trade-in.
Mhm.
Received a trade-in.
To save some money,
I believe 6,000, over 6,000.
taking off that 300,000.
Right.
That's pretty good. So, now, Alan has been referring to the penalty for a select man doing business without competitive bids. What's that penalty, do we recall?
I do not know that off the top of my head, no.
Can't remove, you
I
can't
think
be.
to be removed and also possible some legal liability, is that right?
Yeah,
I was trying to look it up.
it's in the known, territory, most of the deal with, this is so often. Which I don't think any of us want. No, I want to clarify myself on this, that, want this to stay local, but I want to be legal.
I still comment. Now, we had the audit, have you accepted the audit yet? And if so, at what meeting? And have you mailed it in, or the state likes you to do that and you have to vote on it? Haven't seen it in minutes yet. Is that something you'll think about for the next meeting, or you want to still do that today, or?
We are within our 45 years, so I think we should motion to accept it and send it.
first, 2023 off.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right,
Okay, so, thank you for that. I didn't see you did that last year, but I saw that it got down to the state, so that's good. So, now Jessica mentioned, the master plan, which was adopted the day after the town meeting. I have, asked them to report to them, because I think that master plan, it's great that we finally have one. But I've read it and it's based on, it's already 5 years old based on the money being used to prepare it. I understand the importance of just getting something done. But we're already 5 years into it, which is the usual recommended time to get a new one. You got a pretty hostile reception from the planning board, I have to say, because I think they were tired that they had finally just got it done. But it's an important thing, and you know, it's part of budget planning and everything else, so I wanted to mention that. Another thing that usually happens around the end of December or the 1st of January is payment in lieu of taxes contracts are renegotiated and signed. And I haven't heard anything about that at select board, and so we're 3 months later. Will that be done at some time? Is that on your agenda? There are 4 contracts that are listed in the town report. There is some error. I think that the town report says that weeks is 29,000. If you pointed me out, and it's more like 31 or 32 last year. But I assume it didn't go to.
You always ask at a meeting and then of course numbers don't happen like right
No,
now.
I don't expect you to have.
Yeah.
I noticed in the town report, it says for weeks is 29,000, but last year, you might know me, a contract was actually 31 or 32.
Well, the contract is a percentage of the assessed values, so I'm not sure. The contract doesn't say a specific amount. I maybe
If you
there's the invoice bill.
allow me to continue,
Yeah.
if you look elsewhere in the town report, there's a total of them, ballot, and they don't come to the same total. Set the one that's on the page, the MS 747 or whatever. And, that we have, we went from 10 million to $20 million assessment, and the file did not go up. That's the sort of thing that I'm sure you'll want to address when we talk about the contracts. And I've heard that you were looking into those at one point in March last year, and it mentioned that you were gonna look into them, changing certain things further about that. And I wonder, with respect to, boards that are appointed, notice you reappointed a bunch of people with the planning board, and they're pretty much the same people that were there 10 years ago in 2013. And this is the same crew that didn't get the master plan. 10 or 11 years, and I don't know what to say about them, except that maybe a little bit of stimulus in their direction wouldn't be a bad thing. So that's what's on my mind. Thank you for listening. And so hope you'll be able to, when I mention these things and talk of things, if it's appropriate to respond to them. I really appreciate it. I especially appreciated your addressing the 2 or 3 things that I brought up, like the, what was the farm noise. So thank you for that.
okay. Yeah, is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak?
Well, I go the second time to let John, on wrong to the plan. On the master plan probably 2 cycles ago, and, there was a questionnaire that was available here at the library and the town hall and, several other places in town. People filled out to what they, what help they want, grow, et cetera. I didn't see that this time, and my fear is that, are we gonna draw a master plan from just the planning board members and just their opinions? I think it's a very narrow band to be drawing from, and I think it would get fairly, in my mind, useless document if it was only a handful of people on one board, and we didn't get a public town input.
If I can address it, I think.
Hang on a second, you did have, there was several, actually quite a few public meetings that were held. Things got bogged down. Definitely when Ben left, because Ben was one of the ones that was out running the meetings. So things got bogged down, so it did take a little bit longer. But these master plans are only done every certain period of time. I think it's 5 years now. It used to be 10 years, and they lowered it to 5. And I was on the same committee you was on, Alan, 2 cycles ago when we sat there. And while there was questionnaires and stuff, we chose to stick with our committee recommendations, and we chose not to hire any outside person to help us write it. When you already have a document that's there, does that document need to be changed and asked? Yes, at times. But it's never a complete rewrite of the master plan. You're just updating what was going on. You had, we had some zoning changes that had to be noted into it. And a lot of people think that master plan is like law. It's not, it's a guide. And during that 5 years, often things change and you have a development that's not necessarily in that master plan. So it's a good guide, but again, it does not need to be rewritten from stem to stern every 5 years.
So I guess I'm not recommending to get rewritten, but I'm saying is, I don't think a shallow, narrow, broad, man, people to do the thing. I think that, it should have been a questionnaire, or like we did 2 cycles ago. And, I realize how much work you do, but if you don't put work into it, it isn't work. And yes, every time someone didn't want to use master plan, follow the master plan, they said, oh, it's just a dog. But anybody wanted to with the goal, it's a control.
Mr. Rob?
I'm not pretty sure that there was a questionnaire 3 years ago. So maybe you didn't get to see it, but they actually did make the effort to do a written one because the focus groups were 5 years ago, and that big change is COVID and COVID migration. You know, we're getting a lot of people come. We know what our assessments went up like crazy because the pressure on real estate markets, and the report uses census figures. But if you want to figure out how many people actually live here, hazard and for emergency plans, we figure on 5,000 people instead of 3,200. That was part of that planning process. And the reason, and you can check that ratio by comparing the valuation of 03584 tax bills versus non-034. So those are the sorts of things that I think are important. When I gotta say that our plan is only 7 or 8 pages long and it's useful. I read the executive summary. The gold one. It was 110 pages. That's the stuff. You're right. It's gotta be something useful. And I'm not criticizing what's done. I'm just saying that it's helpful. And I know that they're tired and they don't want to do anything. But as Alan says, a broader, maybe somehow get a broader picture is a good idea. That's my thoughts.
Right. Anyone else from the public? Wish to comment?
I motion to adjourn.
I will second the motion to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We thank you all for coming out.
I'm locking the door because they're playing ball.